Hi. Okay, so if you have chronic illness and you are suffering, and you have been suffering for a long time, you are living in fear. Okay, so I'm sitting on the couch today. I've been making my notes, I've been doing my work, and I've basically just been sitting here, as I have for the past over a month now, and focusing inward and seeing my fear for what it is. So, when I was at my sickest, my absolute worst, when I wanted to die every second, when my pain was so thick, when my whole central nervous system was shut down, when it was burning, buzzing, on fire from head to toe, when all I could do was barely speak, I couldn't walk, talk, do anything, and I was reduced to a pile of roadkill in the middle of the road, just wishing I would die. I was still capable of doing things that I didn't think I could do. And I promise you that you can do more than you are doing. And what's stopping you is fear. Okay, so I want you to take this sentence in because it's true. And it was true for me at my very lowest. And I forget this. You forget when you see, people always say, oh, I'm at the bottom. There's nowhere else to go but up. There's more. There's more bottom. Trust me. My bottom was so deep, and then it got deeper and deeper and deeper. And the well was never ending. There was no bottom to how deep it went. Okay, so the suffering and the deepness and it went beyond anything that this human world knows. But even still, even in those moments where everything seemed to be gone, I still had power and I could still do the thing that I think I couldn't do. Because here's the sentence I want you to remember. You have no limitations. You have no limitations, I promise you. If you're in a wheelchair and you can't walk and you're thinking, but I'm limited because my legs. If you can't see anything, if your brain is foggy and you can't think and you've got Alzheimer's, if you have MS and you're walking with a cane, if you have cancer, if you have fibromyalgia and you're writhing in pain every day, you have chronic fatigue syndrome and you cannot literally barely make it from your bed to the bathroom to go to the bathroom, okay? You have no limitations. I promise you, because I know and I've been there. You have no limitations. The limitations are in your mind, okay? I wrote this down because it's important. You're just addicted to your story. You don't have the limitations. You're addicted to your story of having them. Okay? I wrote down this. You're addicted to your story of having these limitations. You're holding on to them because you're afraid. And the fear is so strong to drop your limitations. Like every single one. All of them. Out of fear. Of self-protection and self-preservation. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that your fear is trying to protect yourself and is trying to preserve yourself. And you're thinking, no, I just can't get out of this wheelchair and walk. No, my brain fog is just so thick. No, I literally cannot stop this pain. No, I cannot get out of bed. I'm so exhausted. I promise you that if you need to, if your child has a crisis and you need to get out of that bed, you will. You, as a chronic fatigue patient who can not get out of bed and not walk down to the end of your driveway, if your child is 3 blocks away and is calling for help and you know you need to go to them, you will. You will get out of that bed and you will walk down that street 3 blocks. I guarantee you will, whether you can or not. If you cannot walk, but your life depends on saving your mother or father who has just fallen on the floor and about to have a heart attack, and you're the only one there who can help them, you will get up and walk. I promise you that you have no limitations and that they are only there because you're addicted to your story of why you can't, of why you can't do it. Why you can't do it. Of why you're limited, of why you're handicapped, of why it's too hard or it's too much. And it might be too hard. It might be too much. It might be seriously shitty luck. It might be the worst pain that you could ever imagine. It might be the worst fatigue that you could ever imagine. It might hurt so much, but you can do it. You can do it. So what's it going to take to let go of that story, right? What's it going to take to let go of that pain, that suffering, those limitations? The limitations that only exist in your mind. Because I know that if your mind was strong enough, your body would do what it needs to do. A mother who can barely lift a 20-pound weight would lift a car off her dying child. It has been done and it has been noted if they thought that they had to do that to save it. You are more capable than you know, and your limitations don't exist except in your mind. And you can do the thing, even though it sucks, even though it's hard, even though it's painful, even though you shouldn't have to, even though you got shitty luck, even though everyone's looking at you, even though you're being judged, even though it's not how you wanted it to be, even though it's ruining your life, even though it's not perfect, even though it takes away your joy, even though it robs you, even though, you can do it. You do not have any limitations. Now, this might sound controversial. It might sound like, well, what the hell do you know? I am limited by this. But I can promise you that I have done so many things when I didn't think I could, because you actually can. And I know that from experience, okay? So I wrote down some things today that I'm just going to share about what my biggest fears. Maybe you can relate to some of these things, okay? I wrote down 5 of my biggest fears, all right? So, and I'm just going to share them. I'm just going to be vulnerable. Maybe these are some of the things that you think as you sit there with your illness, as you sit there with your suffering, with your pain, with your fear, with your disease. So the first one is, I'm scared that I won't get better and that I'll have to keep feeling this body pain and all these symptoms forever. Okay, that's what my fear says. That's what my fear says. My fear says that. And what does my heart answer? If I allow my heart to answer, that little fearful, scared child who wants its mom to answer it, who wants the universe, the soul, to answer it, my heart will say, my heart says back to it, I will take care of you. Everything's going to be okay. Even if you don't get better. Even if you have to feel these symptoms forever. Everything is happening for you. Just trust. I love you. Okay, so another fear I have, I'm scared that if I do get better, I'll have to be a person who does all the things that I either don't want to do because I hate them, or they're so scary to me because they're out of my comfort zone, that I might have an anxiety attack or, drive to these unknown places, get myself in unknown situations, travel, be alone in new cities, maybe not be protected, not be safe, not be taken care of, not have somebody to help me. I'm afraid that I'll be out of that comfort zone and it will be super, super scary. That's what my fear says. My fear says that. Not me. I think it's me, but it's my fear. That's what that little kid inside me, that little fearful kid. And if I was talking to my own child, if your soul was talking to you, if your heart was responding, my heart says back to me, you'll get through it. You'll become who you were meant to be. You'll be okay. You know, my heart, my fear says, I'm scared that I will suffer forever. And my heart says, I'll love you anyway. I will love you anyway. Okay, let's do one more. My fear says, I'm scared that I'll miss my whole life, that I'll throw away my kids' childhood, my love life, my best years, friendships, places not yet traveled. I'm afraid that this illness will leave me with so many regrets. I won't, that it will kill me. That's what my fear says. That's what that little child, that little fear says. And my heart, my soul replies back, then live it now. Live it now anyway. Live your life. Live your best life, even if, so that you don't have to look back with regret. My heart and soul says, I know you're afraid that this disease has taken everything from you, and that you're afraid you've missed it and you're going to miss even more. And my heart says, then live your life now. You can live your life now. Be brave enough to live your life now. So, I want you to remember that you have no limitations. Your fear is talking, and your soul and your heart, you need to be able to access the response that the truth needs to tell you and needs to hear. And I promise you are way more capable than you can, and you can live your life now. You don't want to. It sucks. You want to wait until you're better. You want it to be different. This isn't how you envisioned your life. It's not how you imagined your life. It's not going the way you want. But you can live your life now. You don't have the limitations you think you could do. You can travel. You can walk. You can run. You can exercise. You can get up out of bed. You could parent your children. You can play with them. You can laugh. You can love. And I know you're thinking, I can't, because this is so strong and thick and horrendous that it takes everything out of me. And I'm telling you, that's your fear saying that. That's your fear saying that. So what does your soul say? What does your heart say? If you had a little child and it said that to you, what would you answer back? That's what you need to be reminded of. And then be brave enough to love yourself anyway. Even if you don't have all the answers, even if you can't do everything, and to just get up and love yourself through it and try. Take the limitations off, take your story off, and open up to doing it regardless, and to believing that it's okay and that you're going to be okay.